accurate development occurs by fixing problems at root level. Our next speaker exemplifies this statement as he is equipped with 14 years of high-quality corporate experience. Today we have with us Mr. Amol Birajdar, founder of Agri-Tea Venture. Mr. Birajdar's main aim is to create employment in rural India. With such an amazing international exposure and a sound understanding of socio-political scenario, Mr. Birajdar has always delivered results of the highest quality. With a warm heart, please welcome Mr. Amol Birajdar.
Our nation has 6.5 lakh villages, 10,000 odd towns or taluks, 734 districts, and 32 states. To understand how the rural economy runs or operates, we need to understand how these 6.5 lakh villages manage their economy, or how the economic transactions happen in the 6.5 lakh villages. According to my understanding, there are some 120 villages which will have one town which will serve as the marketplace. Villagers from this 100 villages will check in every morning in this marketplace to seek goods and services. They will purchase their goods. They will seek services or render services. Services can range from banking, education, tutorials, working in the shop, working in the small factory. And goods can be like, they can sell their agri-produce, they can purchase finished product like textile, footwear, or nowadays medical, pharmacies and electronic devices. With every transaction that the villager does in this town, it helps the economy of the town. And that's how this entire coexistence happens. 100 odd villages linked to one marketplace, the town. This system was working beautifully well, till last 5-10 years. But of late, what has happened? Most of these villagers, like the young ones, so to say, they are not interested in sticking to the village. They are not interested in sticking to farming or agriculture. When I say they don't want to stick to the village, they don't want to stick to the profession. Why they don't want to stick to the profession, we can talk about it later. But because these guys are running towards cities in seeking employment, the economy is getting disturbed at the village level, and in turn it is disturbing the town level or the taluka place economy, and it cascades down to district and the state later on. Entire economic activity is moving towards cities. That model is different. I mean, we can talk like if cities have helped the development of the country or not. That's a different topic altogether. But today we are going to focus upon how we can, bring back this rural, economic activity back to the old days and create jobs in rural India. The only solution that I see to save rural economy is creating jobs in rural India. How do we create these jobs? Creation of jobs is not simple. If you look at the economy of the town, there are 5 or 6 sectors which are predominantly giving employment there. One is real estate, wherein you buy land, sell land, construct some commercial property, rent it out. Second, there are educational institutes, private and government. Then third, there is a lot of unorganized financial lending and borrowing that happens. There are a lot of youth which gets employed into it. And there are typical few government jobs that get created every year. Maybe a BSNL unit there, or maybe some postal services, or some government schools, Jilla Parishad run schools and all those institutions. But these jobs are not enough. They're too scarce. So how do we create new jobs in rural India? The only solution that I see is promoting MSMEs, that is micro, small, medium enterprises in rural India. and what kind of MSMEs they would be. Rural India typically has agricultural produce as the raw material, or in some cases, in special cases, it would have mines, minerals, or some stones, gems, special reserves, and industries around that can be promoted. But bulk of it is rural agricultural produce. So we have to promote agri-processing MSMEs in these rural sectors to create new local rural jobs. Creation of local rural jobs is the only solution to bring back or revive the rural economy, and it will then cascade it to the entire, national economy. Reviving the rural economy calls for a change. As we all know, change is the only constant. And this principle I have very well imbibed in my own life. If you see my journey, I started as a IT programmer after my engineering days from an elite institute. Then worked in services, worked in product, wrote my GMAT, got into elite B school. After my MBA, completely shifted my field, came into organized retail, procured stuff from farmers in villages, and stacked it in my stores far, southern states of the country. Procured it from my own hometown. It was a great experience, selling the farm produce directly from the farmer's field and putting it on the shelf. It was very fulfilling. Even that didn't last long. I moved completely to another setup. I got into the, sunrise sector e-commerce. I did well there, worked in multiple teams, helped small sellers come on the marketplace platform. We designed multiple products for them. Things were going very well. But then this thought was always troubling me. What is that I can do for the rural economy, and how I can, create new jobs in rural economy? Because that study was always disturbing me, that the rural economy was not doing well. There are no jobs getting created there. And this thought provoked me to finally take this big call, quitting a well-settled, high-paying, and, elite job, corporate job, what we all call. But the day came and I called it quits. So finally I called it quits. It's far easier said than done. And typically, if you ask any, an employee or any young engineer, young MBA grad, if they want to start something on their own, I would say 80 to 90% of the folks would say yes, they want to start on their own. But calling it quits, that takes a lot of guts. We all get stuck into that N+1 or N+2 syndrome, where that it's an infinite equation. You always get into an infinite loop. You think that you will quit next year or maybe 2 years down the line. Okay, the next year again happens next year, and this cycle continues. Now, to quit a job, you need to have a plan before you quit. You need to be very, very passionate about that plan. Unless and until you are passionate about that plan, of course, you will not get those guts to quit the job. Somehow, I, managed those guts, and I quit my well-settled job, came back to my hometown. We had a team of my, school days, right from my kindergarten friends. They all are engineers, actually, even because it was a group passion. They also, a couple of them quit, a couple of them are still working. And we formed a group, started a venture with a clear intent of doing agri-processing at the local village level and creating local rural jobs. There was a challenge in picking up what processing we need to do. We did the study, what are the crops that we grow in our area, what is the future for each of them. And now we are working on a theme of, work like manufacturing products with a clear theme of healthy substitutes. When I say healthy substitutes, it's like substitutes for sugar, which is sulfur-coated sugar, which we all want to avoid, but we don't have a substitute for that. So we went into jaggery, which is chemical-free jaggery. We want to get into cold-pressed oil, which will be substitute for refined oil. Again, refined oil is not that great for health. So we have a plan for that. And I think every entrepreneur who wants to, get into agri-processing business needs to have a plan and needs to be passionate about his or her plan. I am very, very sure that if the entrepreneur works hard and is honest about his or her efforts, success is going to come to them. It might get a little late, but it will come for sure. For some, things will fall in place and things will work out really well. For some, it would be struggle. But trust me, that struggle is worth. If you see, you're creating a job, if you're giving a job to somebody in your own native place, one family is what one job can run, and that entire family will be so happy that they got job because of your efforts, because of your venture, and I think that's very satisfying. A rural entrepreneur, it sounds really cool, it sounds good, but then it has its own share of challenges. Because I've been through that journey, I can tell you a few of the challenges that I faced. I would rather call them world wars, and there are 3 world wars for any rural entrepreneur. The first world war is getting a loan from the public sector bank. I'm sure a lot of the would-be entrepreneurs would second this thought. Second world war, getting a dedicated 24/7 electricity connection from your local distributor there in the state. And third, getting your land non-agricultured. Like when I say non-agricultured is innate, you need to change the classification of your land. You have to run pillar to post for getting each of this thing done. It's not easy. It is months of tedious, full of paper exercise. However, you learn the system with this, how the Indian system is functioning. That's the only silver lining in this. I learned my way. Also, there are multiple other small battles, small struggles that you need to find day in, day out while you run your business. There would be issues around, some local unions, there will be issues around some labors, issues around some local laws. But then the passion that you have will make you fight all these battles and even succeed and win those wars. If you have the passion in you, you will definitely succeed and you will make it to the top. For all the entrepreneurs, I would also like to say there are a lot of government initiatives which are promoting entrepreneurship in rural India. There are multiple schemes going around. There are there's a lot of information, a lot of success stories available on the public platforms. Even the global marketplaces like e-commerce players are helping these entrepreneurs to get the market. So things are going well, and I'm sure if you have a right plan and with the right effort, your business plan will definitely succeed. Finally, I would like to leave you all with this message. Being an employer is far more glamorous than being an employee. All the very best for my budding entrepreneurs. Thank you.